And yes, sir. Ornamental could be good too. I mean, we say medicinal, edible, and generally useful. So I mean, aesthetic is definitely useful. Um, I'm going to talk about. We're going to do a question and answer after, and right now I'm going to talk about why it's important that we have these heirloom seeds. This is the next generation. He's actually in the back somewhere. Here's little Julian, and that's my grandma's hand. There holding a bay leaf. And, it's just symbolic of passing it on to the next generation. What are we passing on? Well, just as we want to pass on our culture, our language, our knowledge of how to live, our knowledge of our own families and where we come from, the heirloom seeds hold within themselves knowledge just as we do. Heirloom seeds are genetically, that's why we've been keeping them, is because you keep the best seed, you keep the best fruits for seeds, so they're genetically superior to, a lot of things you might buy in the store. Not to say, but that's why we want to keep these heirloom seeds, is to continue this knowledge, continue the knowledge and what is in the genetics of these plants, and what place they have in our life. So, just as we want to do our best to communicate the knowledge that people such as Ed and Ray have worked so hard to accumulate over their lifetime, and all kind of people in this room and all in the Acadiana, that's what we want to do with the knowledge as well as the seeds. Things such as bousillage. This is me. We built a bousillage wall at our house, and it was a very long process, a very just labor intensive, and just understanding how it worked, and understanding how much moss you need. We got 400 pounds from a man that Ed had directed me to in Catahoula, and it only went about that high on our wall. So I had to go and I had to collect another 600 on my own. So I made 1,000 pounds of moss just for one wall, 30 by 9 with big doors. So this is the types of things that we would, sustainable living. I mean, a bousillage wall is such a great example because you have the cypress tree, you have the mud that it's in and the moss that's hanging off of it, and right there, that's your whole house right there. I mean, it's stuff that's free, it's sustainable if harvested correctly, and it's environmentally clean, if harvested correctly. One thing that we would like to that we're going to be focusing on is trying to get seeds from the diverse peoples of Louisiana. This is Mr. Lester and Miss Margaret, who I visited yesterday in Lydia. He's a Broussard, he's Cajun. We're actually probably related, I found out, but I'm sure if you talk to anyone long enough, you'll realize that. But so all the different ethnicities that I talked about earlier, and we'd like to try to represent all the different parishes. So, right now we have St. Landry, Evangeline, and Iberia. And I saw all the people that raised their hands in here who save seeds. We'd be very honored if you'd like to share your seeds with the Acadiana Seed Bank so that we can share them with future generations and current generations. And we try to represent as much of South Louisiana, if not more, as we can. I know like places like Terrebonne and Lafourche. I mean, they're so isolated and they have so much rich history, but they're also so endangered to natural disaster that it's a lot harder to hold on to things, as it is say in St. Landry Parish. It's a little further from the coast. We have an interview scheduled with a Native American in Ile-Jean-Charles for next month, and we're hoping, I just know we have an interview, but I don't know if she has seeds anymore. The person that's lining up the interview for us said that, her whole garden was wiped out by Ike. So we don't know if she's going to have any seeds or if she kept them in her freezer or what. So, we'd like to try to focus on these areas that are, more disaster prone. And, as our culture depends on our wetlands and our land, so does preserving these seeds. So that's basically our mission for now. And with the Acadiana Seed Bank and Latte Cult, CRIA will have other things going on. We have a fundraiser April 5th at the Blue Moon that we told y'all about, and like I said, that's to raise money to buy a scientific freezer and any other things. We've basically done everything we've done on very minimal input. We've had a couple in-kind donations. We received one grant, which is actually to get tax-exempt status, which we've still not received from the IRS so that we can apply for larger grants, but it's in the application works for 7 months, so we're waiting for it to come back. But I'm actually going to take this opportunity to let Mr. Whitney Broussard tell you about a couple other projects we have going on, then we're going to do a question and answer. And I know Jennifer has some other things.
My name is Whitney Broussard. I'm a postdoctoral researcher at UL Lafayette, and it's an honor to sit on the board and work with CRIA. I'm going to talk to you just briefly about 2 outreach projects that we have going on right now under the CRIA umbrella. And the first is to work with CSET and LSU and the Acadian Museum to bring a museum exhibit permanently on display to the Acadian Museum that I was a part of. We had a few PhD students go to Nova Scotia and New Brunswick to study the agricultural techniques of the early Acadians. So we call it farming the wetlands of Old Acadie, 17th century reclamation to present day restoration. It's a long title. And but we studied the Aboiteau system and how the early Acadians were incredibly technical and wonderful agriculturalists in the Bay of Fundy to reclaim the higher reaches of the tidal salt marshes and use those reclaimed areas for hay and wheat production. So we have a wonderful exhibit that will be on display permanently at Acadian Museum. And if I can shamelessly put in a plug, we'll have a presentation through this series for that exhibit in November. So that'll be great. Y'all come back in November. We're already on the books. So the second thing that we're working with is to sponsor the Lost Bayou Ramblers to go to the Sangwon Watershed Celebration. This is going to be in Decatur, Illinois, and Decatur, they are interested in nutrient pollution and contamination from conventional agricultural practices making their way into the Mississippi River, and how that is making its way to the coast of Louisiana and connected to the dead zone off the coast. So they're very interested in our ecological health, and we're very interested in their agricultural health. And so we're going to go up there and give a presentation about Louisiana, our landscape, our coastline, and the Gulf of Mexico, and do it with stories and do it with song, and then have a good old dance afterwards. So that's going to be in June, and we'll look forward to working with you all very much more in the future. Quite a lot going on. So thank you all for coming out. Thank you.
I want to give a thank you to Jennifer and Carl Brasso, who came out to our house a couple years ago and encouraged us to pursue this. So I just wanted to thank y'all for the encouragement of CSET and the whole group. All right. Well, thank y'all so much for coming out.